The Hawk is back with the latest TNA smack. This should be a good one, or possibly a bad one, because Tessa Blanchard will be wrestling for the first time on Impact in 4 years. For some of you, it's the worst of your fears. We're at Full Sail University once again, and we start out with the Slapnut System. Moose defended his X Division belt over on NXT, defeated Lexus King, but I guess WWE didn't give them the footage to show this time. So now Moose will be facing Obafemi in a title versus title match at the NXT Roadblock show. Miss Piss screams into the mic, "Do you want to know something?" with every single person in the building replying simultaneously with no. Eddie Slapnut Edwards brags about them beating up Leon Slater, the boy from Bradford. These guys look like they're out of it. Moose speaks about the Obafemi situation and says that he isn't as good as the face of the franchise. He actually spends some time to address that he keeps losing matches, something that's been bothering me a lot lately too. Most of these losses have come against Jeff Hardy, and it sounds like he is determined to take him out. Beyond Average Brian Myers wants to speak about recruitment to their faction. It sounds like nobody else likes them and wants anything to do with them. The Colognes are offered a place in the system, which brings them down to the ring. Epico says he respects the system and he has history with Fandango and Myers. Primo says they have the systems back. I didn't see that one coming. The Slapnut System is growing and can't be stopped. Spitfire have an interview. They talk about their match tonight against the Elegance team. The belts will be on the line tonight, but also the loser's freedom will be on the line, as they will have to be a servant forever. Yay, Dani Luna actually gets to speak. She sounds like a polite British flower. They discuss what they're going to make the Elegance team do when they beat them. Dani reveals how stinky her clothes are, but she's now going to be able to have them washed. Jody wants to take them to the gym and give them a makeover by giving them mohawks. Everybody chants mohawks. Somewhere in North Carolina, the stoner friend is dumping in his nappy of anger. You better not steal his gimmick too, TNA. Somewhere else backstage, the system run into the boy from Bradford. The Hardys back him up and everyone's yelling and screaming. Out comes Mike Santana for a match. He's facing Menta from NXT. Does TNA's partnership with NXT mean that they don't have to worry about making many signings because they can just keep padding out their roster of NXT guys? I don't know, but what I can tell you is that once again, here's a guy from NXT. I don't watch the show, so I would really like to be introduced to who this guy is, but sadly, once again TNA assumes that everybody watches NXT. This isn't very welcoming to potential new viewers, TNA. Although, I'm not sure they have many new viewers. Actually, let me know in the comments when you started watching TNA. Was it recently, or are you a long-time fan? The live crowd love him, but they all watch NXT in this building. I don't think I'm asking for too much. Anyway, Menta dominates him with a head scissors and a springboard thrust kick. He tries to dive out of the ring, but he's caught and dropped on the ring apron, and Santana hits a big boot. Back in the ring, both men roll backwards at the same time, leading to roll the block, which is just a 2 for Santana. The crowd are fully behind him as he looks to fly. Menta stops him though, hitting a nice kick and another rolling kick for a 2. Santana almost catches him out of a pin, and then he stops his next move and powerbombs him. Mike Santana wins the match with spin the block. That was a fun little match, to be fair. Nice moves and the right man won. No complaints other than the lack of introduction for who Menta is. Mustafa Ali and his faction have a video package insulting Mike Santana and claiming that he's secretly returned to his alcohol addiction. This is interesting, touching on real life issues. It reminds me a bit of James Storm and Rhino's feud where they did similar stuff. Keep going with this and have Mustafa Ali pushing his buttons every week until Santana completely snaps. They cut to the ring where Mike Santana calls him a moron. Got a laugh out of me? He's still too humorous, he needs to be made angry. Well, after an advert break I do partially get that. Santana is slightly moody as he threatens the Great Hands to stop protecting Ali. The show continues touching on controversy as the next person out is Tessa Blanchard. On the last video I made a comment about how poor the theme music is within this company, but to be fair, she does have music that stands out. New ring gear for Tessa too. She's being forced to wrestle this match or she will be fired. Her first match back on Impact in 5 years. Her opponent is Kelsey Heather, who has strange ring gear and a thong hanging out like it's the year 2000. I'm actually told this look is back in fashion now. How does that make you feel, Shove It Squad? Is it upsetting, enraging, or enlarging? By the way, most of you watching won't be able to pull this look off, so please don't try this at home. Okay, the bell rings. She batters the newcomer in the corner with vicious clubbing blows. The crowd chant Tessa sucks. Kelsey catches her with a head scissors but then runs into a kick and a drop kick. Masha Slamovich smiles at the TV screen. Comically, Kelsey screams and tries to block a corner attack. Tessa is confused and slaps her face off. Kelsey manages to do a pin after a wheelbarrow. The crowd are now chanting she's a liar at Tessa, I think it was that anyway. She makes another pinning attempt before Blanchard just hits a cutter and the hammerlock DDT ends the match. Blanchard smiles at the crowd of happiness. No sign of the TNA fans walking out or doing anything about their hatred of Tessa Blanchard. Not much of a match, but glad to see she finally had one. Masha's in the back about to say something about that match when Cora Jade jumps her from behind. Not a bad show so far. Joe Hendry and Elijah discuss how fun their performance was last week. Joe Hendry doesn't trust him though and thinks he's going to get hit with a guitar. Elijah isn't interested in fighting him and just wants to make music with Joe Hendry. The Slapnut System walk up and remind Elijah that they run the show and they're left speechless. Next up is a match with Casey Navarra taking on the man without the grin, Steve Maclin. Casey starts out speeding him and he's feeling good about himself, but he's not feeling so good after a powerbomb. Maclin gets a 2 off a sliding clothesline. The match turns when AJ Francis gets involved and he dumps Maclin on the ring apron. Eric Young's crew appear on the ramp. This slows the match down as everybody looks confused. Maclin fires up with a clothesline and an ankle slam. Casey manages to come back with kicks in the corner and he almost gets an upset victory with a frog splash. 3 people in the crowd chant Steve. Navarro misses his next dive and Steve catches him and kisses his head before slamming him, and this gets a huge reaction from the crowd and it should have probably been the finish, but no. Instead, Maclin hits him with a spear in the corner and puts him away with the KIA. Wow, what's going on? The Hawk is actually enjoying this show. Tessa Blanchard models a new TNA jacket from shoptna.com. I'm sure she's going to move a lot of merch for them. She bumps into the girl from the last show. She keeps saying Tessa talks too much. Tessa thinks she doesn't belong on the show. Santino marches up and arranges a pay-per-view match for Sacrifice. Wow, what incredible storytelling. It's time for the Knockouts Tag Title Servant match. The Elegance brand, who are mice this week, versus the champion Spitfire. I love the way Dani Luna releases Jodie Fret to run down the ramp like she's a dog. I'm hoping that regardless of who wins this matchup, TNA have the sense to make some fun segments with the losers getting bullied as servants. The Comrades team insult how Spitfire look, and they hope the Elegance team will be able to help them with their looks. The Elegance team are getting dominated, and I especially enjoyed Fret hitting multiple smacks in the corner. Dani Luna is tagged in and she slams Heather and also slams her own partner on top of her for a 2. The double teaming continues with multiple avalanche attacks. Fret nails a slam and hopes to dive, but cheating stops her and Heather hits a code breaker for a 2. Dani Luna gets back in with a powerbomb to Ash, not sure how she kicks out. She desperately reaches out for her partner who's no help and Luna starts suplexing her all over the ring. Eventually Heather stops her and they do a backstabber double stomp to Luna. Jodie comes in and hits an exploder suplex. Heather stops her offense with an eyelash rake and makes the tag, but shouldn't have bothered because Jodie Michinoku drivers her straight away. Ash by Elegance dodges her on the ropes and tags Heather, but they still can't do a thing as Jodie does a stone cold stunner. Dani Luna hits a perfect German suplex into the ring. This Dani Luna, man, she is the next knockout star. I enjoy everything she does and she has a marketable look. Spitfire put away Heather with the pressure drop. Surprised the Elegance manager didn't stop it going down like that, but yeah, right team won and another highly enjoyable match. Dani Luna grabs the mic and brags that the Elegance team are now their servants, forever, starting from right now. Everyone is frantically screaming in comedic fashion. Over halfway through the show and the Hawk doesn't have a single thing to complain about. What is going on? We stay on top of that story in the back. The Elegance team are being forced to look after their sweaty wrestling gear. The Elegance manager tries to bail them out, but Santino tells him that he's not allowed to be involved in this. The smell from their gear is so bad that Ash is almost puking. Why does Spitfire smell so badly? Mance Warner will have his TNA debut match next. He's facing the mole, Sami Callahan. Not sure why this match is taking place at this point. At least build Mance up with some matches first. Well, as it turns out, it's not much of a match. Sami hits a stunner straight away. He then smacks Warner with a chair and the match is just thrown out. Mance turns the tables with a chair to the well-padded gut of Sami Callahan. Security geeks break it up, but it takes them a while to control Sami Callahan, who's like a raging bull in a china shop. Santino Marella can take no more of this and puts them in a street fight match at Sacrifice. If you're planning on using Sami still, this is pretty much your only option, so it's all fine. Wesley is still dragging Tyson Reeks around with him. I've consistently not enjoyed their segments, possibly because it's all about the little rascals. Wesley seems high as he tries to explain how he knows the commentary team. They're just here to watch this next match. Frankie, the future Kazarian, who's just incredibly boring at this point. I couldn't buy him as a world champion over Ali, Santana, Hendry or Dolph Ziggler. Don't get me wrong, I'd have him on the card, I just don't think he's done anything remotely interesting for a bit of time. He's facing overrated Ace Austin. They wrestle a fine match, but Kazarian keeps using Tyson Reeks to cover his ass. Ace ends up jaw-jacking with them, which is a bad decision because they distract him on the apron and Kaz slingshot cutters him into the ring for a 3. I'm glad they kept the match quite short. I have to say the pacing of this show is perfect. The matches aren't so short that they annoy internet fans, but they aren't so long that you fall asleep, and there's plenty of other stuff going down too. Wesley and Tyson Reeks gives Austin a triple beatdown until the Rascals predictably make the save. This has been going down in an almost identical fashion every week, and it's boring. Another skit now with Spitfire and the Elegance brand. They argue over who's going to walk the dog and who's going to carry the bags. Dani Luna apparently carries dumbbells in her bag. They make fun of the stupid dog, but hilariously it turns out that it's Steph Delanter's dog. They desperately apologise to her. The real dog is a beautiful big dog. Dog poo bags are stuffed down Ash's bra. How could she not like that beautiful creature? And the dog's alright too. The foursome now have a ride along. The Elegance team have to share a back seat with the dog and they cry about the smell. TNA, this is exactly what the Hawk's been asking for you for years, it feels like. Actual effort and comedy. If you keep this stuff up, you're going to be able to pick up more fans, and it's giving Dani Luna the valuable TV time she's going to need. Thank you. I hope there's more of these skits on next week's show. Ryan Nemeth out next. His promos are truly appalling. Once again he reminds us that Dolph Ziggler will be back at the pay-per-view, and once again the crowd don't react. That's that, he disappears. What a goofball. Okay, now there's highlights of Moose beating up Lexus King on NXT. It looked like a pretty fun match. Obafemi certainly seems like a future star. Elsewhere, the Hardy Boys face Craxium and they beat them, so TNA doesn't seem to be getting treated too badly in this deal anymore, but I guess what happens at Roadblock is what really matters. Just the main event left now, a 6-man tag. The Slapnut System take on Obafemi and the Hardy Boys. I was looking forward to seeing Obafemi kill Slapnut Edwards, but I guess they're going to make me wait for that one. They just keep cheating over and over again. Matt Hardy tries his best to delete Moose and even hits a tornado DDT. Moose avoids the twist of fate but can't avoid the side effect. Edwards dives out the ring onto Obafemi, who catches him and slams him on the apron. Yes, Obafemi, get him! Kill that Slapnut! Screw you, Brian Myers. The Hardys hit the plot twist but can't get the free. The match has completely broken down and everyone's hitting big moves. Obafemi smashes Slapnut Edwards with a Uranagi backbreaker. Moose big boots him, which he no-sells, and he runs straight into a cab driver slam. The Colons try to interfere, but they aren't stopping Obafemi. Instead, Moose stops him with a spear. Matthew Hardy also gets a spear, but the ref is down. He then wakes up and still counts to 3. Thank God Moose didn't lose again. The Slap Your Colon system are celebrating when Joe Hendry's music hits and him and Elijah run them off. Santana makes announcements that at Sacrifice, Jeff Hardy is going to face Moose in a ladder match for the X Division title. That's going to be good. Also, there'll be a 10-man tag involving 3 mystery guys. Exciting end to the show. What a show. Good job, TNA, and the crowd are loving life. There's absolutely no need to whine when the show is fine, but your girl's less than that. She smells of tuna and brine. So I gave her an air freshener, cedar wood and pine, and now the Hawk can take her to dine, and you should have seen her face, it started to finally shine.